absence I've not felt since.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nerds Galore. I'm your host, Star Wars Gazer. I'm joined by my co-hosts here, Jungle Jedi and Wrath of Mandalore. How are we doing, guys?
So good.
Heck yeah, even better. We got the legend himself with us tonight, Mr. Marc Thompson. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm great. I'm not worthy of the title legend, but I'm very grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are 100% worthy of the title legend. Don't you voice this guy, right?
Oh,
Right?
yeah, in the books. Yeah.
I mean, that's legendary right there.
He's half of the Blue Man Group.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's cool. I'm going to tell Tim we have to call ourselves that.
It was actually funny, Mark. So about a month and a half ago, I was out in Denver with Jungle Jedi. We were at the Denver Fan Expo, and we got to go over and talk to Timothy. And I told him, I'm like, man, you're such a legend. We love your books. And he goes, I'm going to correct you on something. So he talked a little bit about his book, and he goes, it got into Disney or whatever. So I'm not legend. I'm canon. And I'm like, yo, I love it. That is
That's
awesome.
even better response. I thought he was going to be quibble about the definition of the word legend, but that's even better. That's awesome.
Right? I know. It's so...
He schooled us with that for sure. We were not expecting that.
My favorite Timothy Zahn story is when we did the new trilogy, I was noticing that Thrawn kept saying perhaps a lot. And I thought, well, maybe this is just a habit that he has as an author that maybe he's not aware of or whatever. And so it's kind of almost teasing him hey, so how come he says perhaps all the time? Why does he always say perhaps? He's like, well, actually, and he kind of went into this huge explanation about how Thrawn is open to any and all good ideas. So he never wants to shut down anybody. So it's always perhaps, because maybe that would be a good course of action. Maybe that is, and so he's open to all ideas. And I was blown away, because that's so it was very deliberate. It wasn't just a throwaway, habit.
No.
It was he was even words like that. He has a thought about plan. I was like, that's so cool.
It was really cool. When we got to talk to him, you can see that in action, because we were talking to him about obviously his Heir to the Empire series, and he was talking about Mara Jade and how Luke, he never gave up on his father and turned him back to the light side of the Force. And there's aspects of that same type of thing that he sees in Mara Jade. That's why he's never willing to give up on her, because there's some things within her that he sees
that's awesome.
Remind him of his father. And I was just like, that's so cool.
Oh, I'd never heard that. That's awesome.
So sick. Yeah. But yeah, we're so excited. We've been talking about this for a long time, ever since we were able to get you scheduled. We were like, this is going to be sweet. So
yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because the three of us listen to a lot of audiobooks, and especially Star Wars. And it's funny for me. I'm super busy. I'm a dad. I have multiple jobs, and Gazer's doing the same thing. So we can just put the book in our ear. So man, you've been in our ears so much. I've listened to nearly every Zahn book.
Wow.
Yeah. And Heir to the Empire multiple times.
Yep.
And so it's funny. I was telling them, I was I actually get disappointed most of the time when I go to listen to a Star Wars book that's not voiced by you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Legitimately, dude.
And right now for me, putting that in your ear, I am currently on just started the third book of Heir to the Empire for the fifth or sixth time.
Wow.
My fifth or sixth time through the series now. And I love the Heir to the Empire series. Honestly, it's probably my favorite series.
It's my favorite as well.
It's so amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different. I just can't read. I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
I love that. We'll go ahead. We'll get started. I know I don't want to take up too much of your time here.
Oh, yeah.
And so give us a little experience. How did you fall in love with Star Wars? Take us, on a little bit of a time journey. Where did your love of Star Wars come from?
Well, I was born in 1975. So as early as I can remember, Star Wars has been present in my life, whether it was the action figures or watching the films on VHS. So it's one of those things that's always been there. So I can't remember a specific moment where I fell in love with it. It was just it was my childhood. It was like the toys I played with. It was, it was very formative for me. Like it was kind of, in a lot of ways is kind of like a religion, because it was like, it was one of the first things that was kind of teaching me right and wrong, and so I love, one of my earliest memories is I did get to see Empire in the theaters.
Ooh.
And I do remember, like, Luke crashes the X-Wing into the swamp on Dagobah, and R2 goes off, and R2 falls in the swamp, and he's like, R2, where are you? And I shouted out in the theater, he's in the water, That was like a moment that stuck with me. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just always been there, and so I've just kind of always loved it. So
that's so cool. So what would you say is your favorite movie then?
Empire, definitely.
Empire, okay, my man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Yoda's my all-time favorite character, and just all the training stuff with him and Luke is magic to me.
Yeah,
dude.
What makes Yoda your favorite character?
I love that he is defying expectations, and the whole, like, you think he's just this like funny little guy, and then it totally flips, and he teaches you all this stuff about the Force. So I love that. I love the idea. I love everything he says about the Force. I love the lessons we learn when we're with Yoda, that we're not this crude matter, but we're luminous beings, and that it's kind of what's on the inside that matters, not what's on the outside. And just that was, and just watching him, lift the X-Wing, and that music coming in. It's just like,
I don't believe it. That is why you fail.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, I have a tattoo of Yoda on my shoulder.
Oh, that's sweet.
But it's just, that's I love everything about. I love the way he talks. I love the way he looks. I love the things he says. It's just Yoda is amazing to me. I have if I could get my webcam, I'd show you. But I have like a multiple shelves of just Yodas. Like I've kind of collected a bunch of different Yodas over the years. So
that's so cool. So you probably had to lose your mind when Attack of the Clones came out and he dropped his stick and grabbed his lightsaber, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I was at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York City, which I forgive me if this is incorrect, but I believe it's 1,000-seat theater. It's like where they do like big movie premieres.
Okay.
And we had camped out like overnight, multiple nights to get our seats. This is before you could reserve your seat. And everyone's just out there, and I was delirious from being up all night and whatever. It was a midnight showing. They waited until midnight to actually show it. And when he comes in and just moves his robe and the lightsaber comes out, it was like being at a football game. Like everyone was like, whoa, and just when he starts like jumping around, like I was just like laughing and like screaming, and just the energy in that theater is one of my favorite memories ever of that moment. It was so epic. It was so great.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that
man.
stuff.
Yeah, the prequels blew our minds with some of that stuff. I'm old enough to have seen all of them in theaters as well.
Same.
And I mean, Attack of the Clones with Yoda doing that, bro. We were just like, my. Well, it was cool the way that fight progressed too. Is like suddenly Anakin has two sabers, and we're like, shit.
Yeah.
What is this?
Totally.
Yeah.
And the movements were really cool. And oh shoot, Anakin's gone, and then Yoda walks in, and we're like,
yeah.
Well, I thought it was cool too. Is just like you don't think of Yoda being like a hateful person at all, but like just the way he interacts with Dooku is just like you can sense that beef there. He's like,
right,
this guy.
Totally.
Yeah. So when you take us on your journey, so you tell us about your journey to becoming, Star Wars has always been a part of your life. How did you start getting kind of into the world of voice acting?
So yeah, that's interesting because I knew pretty early on that I wanted to act. Like my mom was super supportive and encouraging, and she kind of noticed that I liked to perform. So she signed me up for like improv classes and singing classes and all that stuff. And then I had an amazing support system in the school I went to. Like we had a really great drama teacher and speech and debate teacher and music teacher, and they were all kind of nurturing me and helping me. So like really early on, I knew I wanted to perform and act. So I went to college at NYU to study acting. And then my sophomore year, this was like pre-internet. So it's like, in the olden days, they just had like a cork board, and they just had a piece of paper on a cork board that said, would you like to audition for a cartoon? And it was like you call up this phone number and leave a message on an answering machine. So I left a message saying, hello, I'd like to be in your cartoon. And it was a cartoon about vampires. So I was trying to be like, Igor or something. So that got me a call back. And so I got in, and then that show didn't go into production, but they said, hey, why don't you audition for this one, which was a show called Daria. It was on MTV in the 90s. It was a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead. And that was my first ever voiceover job. And it was really crazy. And it was a really cool cartoon. And then it was kind of off to the races. Cause then once I got that on my resume, I started auditioning for things and getting recommended to things. And just, I started doing like Pokemon, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so I just started doing all this different animation stuff. And I really liked it. Like I wasn't like setting out to be a voice actor specifically. I just wanted to be an actor. So whether that was going to be on stage or on film, I just really, really wanted to do that. But then I kind of fell into voice acting, and it was a really great fit because I always did like doing really broad characters or kind of, sounding like different things. So like it just kind of worked out that way. And I've done a play here and there, and I did a very low budget independent film, but it really has been mostly voiceover for the past 25, almost 30 years. So
that's so cool.
Been great. So
that's awesome.
It's so cool how like one thing kind of led to the next, and you kept pulling that thread, and you kept saying, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. And so you were just like taking the opportunities as they were presented.
Yeah.
Right?
And even the audiobooks, like, I'm kind of like you, where I didn't really read for fun, or I wasn't like much of a reader. So my agent called and was like, hey, have you ever done an audiobook? And I was like, nah, not really, and I was almost trying to talk her out of it, because I was like, I don't want to read a whole book. And they were like, well, it was a Star Wars book. We thought you'd like it. And I was like, wait, hold on.
Hold everything.
Star Wars, you say?
I'll do it.
But I'm kind of, it is interesting the way you said that, like just saying, because like, had I not said yes, it's interesting, because like that's become a big part of my career. And now it's like, it's probably my favorite thing that I do is the Star Wars audiobooks and just audiobooks in general. Like I've kind of really learned to love reading and learned to love that, way of performing and storytelling. But I would have said no to it because, just it felt so challenging or so different than what I was used to. And so I'm glad I didn't. And you never know what something will lead to, so it's a good thing to kind of say yes to opportunities as they come and just try different things, because you never know,
Yeah,
so.
For sure.
Yeah. Along that path, like what was like the biggest learning curve that you had,
Yeah. So I think I got cast, Kevin Thompson, who directs most of them, if not all of them, is an amazing director, and he's really talented at what he does. And I think I got cast because I could do a reasonable approximation of the characters from the films. So like, the audition, I think I got to do like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Admiral Akbar, and Princess Leia in a scene. And so I think I did well enough in my impersonations of those that they were like, okay, yeah, we want to use you for this. But it was a huge learning curve, learning how to tell the story. And at one point, and I tell this story a lot, but it really helped me, was, Kevin, who's the director, said, anytime we have dialogue, it's super engaging, it's super interesting, and it's great. But anytime you have to do the prose or just the straight narration, it is boring, it is flat, it's not working. So you've got to find a way to make the prose and the narration as interesting as you're making the dialogue. he kind of like explained it like you got to think of the narration as Luke's inner monologue. Like there's a reason that Luke is noticing the color of the room or what people are standing around this table. Because I just kind of thought that as like, it's like stage directions. It's like yada yada yada, get me to my line, you know. But if you think of it as okay, there's a reason he's noticing these things. There's a reason these things are important to him to point out. Then you can have a point of view as you're reading those sections and kind of emotion in those sections, as opposed to just, you know, let me kind of explain this set dressing stuff, you know. So and that like really helped me a great deal. So
yeah. That's literally just like a matter of perspective. It's like literally just like, oh, like let me think about it like this now.
Yeah. So it's like inner dialogue instead of outer dialogue, and that thinking of it that way helped me be able to make it interesting.
So kind of going along with that, we have one of our listeners here has a question for you, kind of going along with the same thought. When you narrate an audiobook, how deeply do you dive into understanding the story and characters beforehand? Do you fully study the book first, or do you mostly discover it as you kind of read it and go through it?
I'm trying to do a deep dive and study as much as I can. Like, time is always our enemy because they want to release the audiobook at the same time that they're releasing the publication of the hard book.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't get as much time as we would like, you know, like, so, and I have other jobs that I'm doing while I'm preparing the audiobook. So I never have as much time as I would like, but I definitely, I'm on Wikipedia a lot. I'm like, you know, cross-referencing things. I'm looking at, you know, videos and like if a character appeared in like Clone Wars or Rebels or one of the films, I'm trying to rewatch their scenes. And I'm definitely trying to understand as much as I can about the lore, about the story, about the characters and but you know, it's super challenging because when you have a franchise that's almost 50 years old, there's like a comic or a novel or a show about every aspect, and you could spend hours and hours on this one chapter just learning the backstory of what's happening in this one chapter. So I don't always have the time to dive as deep as I want to, but I try as much as I can. And then I'm just a fan, so some of that stuff I've watched it before, and it's just kind of refreshing my memory. Oh, right. That's who the you know the Yuuzhan Vong were. That's who, you know, like you know, it's just I just got to kind of get it back in my mind. So, and I've gotten better at it as the years have progressed. Like when I first started, I was just white knuckling and trying to get through it and didn't do as much research as I should have, you know, and so now I'm a little bit better at it as the years have gone on. But yeah,
that's good.
I want to take this next one. I'm curious. So we talked about kind of like the more thoughtful, like logical aspects of some of these things. Are there any? I'd really like to hear about the inspirations behind some of the characters. Like obviously the movies are there, the comics are there, there's shows and all these different things, but is there any other inspiration that you're pulling for any of these characters during this process?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I am trying to use the author's descriptions of the characters as my main inspiration. So that really is like 80 to 90% of it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, not to be a commercial for Wikipedia, but I do like I love Wikipedia because they do, if they did appear in a comic or a show, they'll have some artwork. So a lot of times I'm drawing inspiration from the artwork. So like, if the way that this character, if it's an alien specifically, like they might have a big mouth or a small mouth, and that might help me, or if they look like a certain type of animal, I might try to incorporate some of that animal style in there. Like, you know, Bothans, I tend to make more gravelly and growly, like dogs, you know. So I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from art. Yeah. Sometimes like I'm thinking, okay, if we were casting this movie, what actors might I cast in this movie. And so sometimes I'm using that type of thing. Like I'm like, I'm using like, I want to use this actor in that role because I think that would be cool to see them in a Star Wars film, or this character reminds me of another character that I've seen in a film or show. And, so I'm drawing on that, and some of that is kind of to help me remember, like, to keep the voices straight in my head. Because if I make kind of super strong choices or specific choices, it helps me kind of keep them straight in my head, because they all start to kind of blend together if I don't give them really distinct vocal traits. So
No, that's been something that I've like been baffled by listening to, is like, because I've listened enough, and I'm a vocal music student and musical theater student. My mom is a vocal music teacher, and so my entire life I've grown up in this. So when listening to you, I'm like, he's literally keeping all of these straight.
Yes.
Like I've tried to put myself in your shoes and mimic you, like in my house, like just playing around, because it's fun, and I'm also interested in like, how in the world is he doing that? So
some of it's editing.
Well, that's fair.
Take number 44.
Right. Which that's cool, because for us, we're just getting it like seamless, right? But to know that you have like looked at art and read backstory and like, oh cool, I have an image now that I can put with, because that's like,
he's a real life Thrawn
into your long-term memory. Yeah, totally, right.
Just hours in front of the mirror, just locked in.
I love that. So as you're getting these calls for these books, because you've not just done Eye of the Empire, obviously. There's been a lot of Star Wars books that you've done. Take us through kind of that process, getting a call regarding, voicing a Star Wars book. What is your process like, when you're reading through it and you're trying to develop these voices? You started talking about it a little bit there, but thought that kind of tied in real well.
Yeah. All right. So basically, I'll start reading it, and anytime someone speaks or there's a line of dialogue, I open up a note and I write down the character's name, or if it's like the stormtrooper said, I'll put the stormtrooper or the the cracked helmet or whatever it might happen. And that line, I copy and paste the line of dialogue. And then as I go, if there's any other descriptions of that character that I think give me some clues, whether that's what another character says about that character, or if they have another line of dialogue later on in the chapter that I feel is more emblematic of who their personality is, I kind of copy and paste all that stuff down. And then once I've finished reading the book and I've got every single speaking person kind of notated that way, I go back and I cast it, meaning like I, think, okay, what are the voices for these guys going to be? And I go through my list and I kind of come up with voices for everybody. And some of it is referencing established characters. So it's like, okay, this guy was in Clone Wars, or this guy was in, episode 3. So let me find the clip that he's in, and let me try to get as close to that as I can. Some of that is, okay, this character is going to be speaking a lot, and this character has a ton of scenes with that character. So I've got to make sure that I don't make these two sound too much alike. So I might, Kevin Thompson often describes it as the instruments in an orchestra. Like, you've got to make sure that you've got, the brass and the winds and the percussion, and you want them each to have their own unique sound, so that they all work together. Because if the whole orchestra is just flutes, then it doesn't sound as full as if you had the different types of instruments in there. So I'm trying to kind of, fill up the orchestra that way. And then, like I said, then I might draw on inspiration from other actors or other, or like different qualities of what this character is. And so like mix all that together. And then I try to get them. And then I record samples of all those characters on my phone, so that when I go into the booth, when that character's voice comes up, I'll just really quick pause, listen to that sample to kind of get it in my head. And then I try to kind of do the scene. So the first like 2 days it's a little herky jerky and it's a little stop start because I'm still getting to know the characters and oh, right, that's what they sound like. Yeah. But then right around day 3, most of the characters have been introduced and I start to kind of know them well enough that I can start just ping ponging a little more seamlessly without having to stop and refer to it all the time. So, but it takes a while to get in that rhythm. So
dang, I know. I mean, it sounds like it with like all the work that you just said you put into this, into knowing these characters, like writing down characteristics of these characters and what you think that character would be like, how you would like it. Just there's so much like that's part of the reason that we do call you a legend, Mark, is because it's the work and effort like that you put into these books that when we start listening to Heir to the Empire and these other books, we get so immersed into it, and it's because of that. So thank you.
And the passion too. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for going that extra mile. That like whole process of layering is so cool, and it does immerse us. Like that's why when we listen to Heir to the Empire, we feel like we're actually getting that trilogy. Like we actually feel like we're there, and it's an extension of the original trilogy.
Wow,
yeah.
So like who's been some of your favorite characters to voice? Because you've done a lot with the Heir to the Empire and stuff specifically. You know, you've done some of the OT characters, and then you've also done quite a few of your own, you know, makeup a voice for this guy. What have been some of your favorite ones to voice?
Well, just purely for nostalgia, like getting to do Luke and getting to do Yoda and Han, you know, that's like super cool. And like, you know, so, you know, anytime I get to be like, punch it, Chewie, come on. You know, it's like, oh, that's so cool. So I love doing all that stuff. You know, Thrawn has become a favorite just because he's written so well. And I've gotten to do, he's probably the character I've gotten to do the most of because I did the Heir to the Empire trilogy. There was a new Thrawn trilogy and then a second new Thrawn trilogy, the Ascendancy trilogy, and he's had some one-offs and so I've gotten to do a lot with Thrawn and I really appreciate Timothy's writing. Like he's just so like every single time he catches me off guard because I'm like, okay, how's he gonna get out of it this time? You know, and when the reveal finally happens, I didn't see it coming, but it makes perfect sense because like he foreshadowed it so well and he put all the pieces there, but I can never put them together before Thrawn does. And but when he does, it doesn't seem like it's coming out of nowhere. It's like, oh right, because of that and that, you know, shield generator and that gravity well and yes, of course, you know. And so I love I you know he's become a favorite and that was very cool. So yeah, I guess that was kind of a rambling answer, but like Thrawn, you know, Yoda, Luke, Han,
That's cool.
So something happened with Thrawn that I noticed, and I don't know at what point, but it seems like in Heir to the Empire versus like some of the newer stuff, looks like you kind of like shifted and adapted his voice to kind of fit the more modern Thrawn that we started to see.
Yeah,
that Lars was playing.
Yes.
Can you say anything about that?
Yeah. So, you know, we were doing the Heir to the Empire books before Thrawn got brought back into the canon.
Right.
So that was kind of our take on Thrawn, and you know, we were digging that and happy with that.
Yeah.
And then you know, Disney acquired it, and when they announced, I was at Celebration when they announced that he was going to be on Rebels, and I was like, oh no way. And then and I think they even might have announced the novel, and I was like, oh man, like I wonder if I wonder if they're going to get someone else to do it because they want to kind of make a differentiation there, or I wonder, you know. And then I got the call, and I was like, oh gosh. So I'd started like trying to, I think at that point, because he did come out. We got to see him before we recorded the book, so I'd kind of been like listening to what Lars was doing, and it was such a, you know, a creepy, eerie, you know, they're very soft spoken, and I can't quite do the accent exactly how he does it, but you know, very singular, you know, he has like an odd pronunciation of things. So we kind of made a deliberate decision that, okay, this is how he's going to be known by, like, more people are going to watch Rebels and eventually Ahsoka, though we didn't know that at the time, than would necessarily be listening to the audiobooks. So we kind of made a deliberate decision, like, let's try to get as close to that to try to keep it consistent and keep it in there. So, and I know some people preferred what we did with the Heir to the Empire voice, and some people started listening to the newer trilogy and then went back into Heir to the Empire. Like, why is it different? So, like, and then we did Outbound Flight recently, and we were like, well, which do we do? And then we kind of decided, let's keep it consistent. So I know that can be a thorn in some people's sides of, but that was at least the thinking, is like, he's going to be seen by more people as this. So let's try to keep it in line with this. And, so
which makes sense. And you voice both extremely well. So I have no problem with it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Same.
And to me, it almost seems like, well, when I hear Thrawn during that period of time, it's like, well, maybe we're seeing like an era of him where he was being more like this.
Yeah.
And so I kind of imagine that, and I'm like,
I like that.
Like an evolution of the character,
right?
Yeah. And I think that's a cool aspect too, that you can kind of be a part of the character development and the character evolution, and like, it would kind of be weird for some characters to just be the same always, like there's got to be some kind of, like Thrawn's gone through a lot by this point, and so it's like things change, like I mean, my voice is different from 5 years ago.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, go look at Luke. He goes from this whiny kid in A New Hope to and Return of the Jedi, and even the way you portray him in Heir to the Empire, right? He's a lot more stoic and just kind of like very not soft spoken, but like in a sense, kind of that tone.
I
mean, calm and peaceful.
Bro, even look at Yoda. He goes from this like strong, poetic in a way speaker to he becomes like a little crackhead at the end of this movie.
What happens when you live that long in solitude after losing all your friends?
In the swamps.
Yeah. Clone Force 97 has a question for you. He says along that line, while narrating Convergence by Zoraida Cordova, he says there's a scene aboard the Paxian where Viceroy Farrell asks a guard to do something, and the guard sees it as dishonorable. Right after that, the guard jumps out of the airlock. That moment really stuck with me, but I didn't fully understand its significance. Could you share your perspective on that scene?
Oh man. Okay, that's a great question. It's been a couple of years now, and I'm not totally remembering exactly what that scene was. I think my best recollection is that I believe it was like between Arano and Iriadu, the two worlds, and the one world is like kind of a race of kind of warriors, and they almost felt like in spirit kind of like Klingons, to use another franchise, but like so my memory of it was that it would have been dishonorable to win in that way, or to like there was some manipulation going on to kind of make this war happen between these two families, and so there was some political motivations behind there, and I think I'm butchering this, but like I think it was just that it was kind of like I'd rather die than be dishonorable, that's what I remember from it. But I'd have to go back and reread the scene to kind of get more in depth. So I'm sorry I don't remember it in more detail.
No, that's all good, dude. That's a pretty specific question.
That is.
A banger of a question.
Yeah, I know it's kind of maybe threw you off guard a little bit, but I thought it was a great question. I was like,
it's a really great question.
So go ahead, Mandalore. I know you had a question you were kind of wanting to ask him.
Well, I want to echo MacMan in the chat here. He asked, if you could write and narrate your own Star Wars audiobook, what story would you want to tell?
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question. I have the every once in a while I kick around this idea of like post episode 3, which I know gets mined a lot, but
I don't care.
I'm
we
kind
want
of
it.
We want it, man.
yeah. I'm like fascinated with the idea of how quickly the kind of the way people see the Jedi go from like the heroes and almost the idols to when you get to Rise of Skywalker, it's like, oh, they're not Rise, but Force Awakens, it's like they're legends, and like they're not real, like that was and so I'm kind of fascinated by the idea of like, I have this idea of like the kind of like what they did in Obi-Wan with what's his name, Kumail, like who's they had that fake Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Yeah.
I'm close.
But I love that idea, and I think it would be cool to kind of see like someone who was taking advantage of people by manipulating them and then that kind of feeding into why people don't believe the Jedi are real. But then you have an actual Jedi that's like trying to hide and like trying to do good, and so he's trying to cover his powers. The other guy's trying to exploit the powers.
That's dope.
And just explore like, what was it like? What are the different things? Whether it was propaganda from the Empire, whether it was, like why do people not believe in the Force?
Right.
Like what, like and maybe explore like well, if the Force is a real thing, why is there so much darkness in the galaxy? Why is there all this suffering? Why is the Empire like, and like because sometimes I personally am a person of faith, but I know that like some people, one of the biggest reasons why people don't believe that there's a higher power is the problem of suffering. And I think that time period in the Star Wars galaxy was a lot of suffering. So you could see how that would lead people to not believe that there is a force out there that would, be trying to kind of bring balance or that there would be any, so I would like to maybe explore some of those themes, and it'd be interesting, but
that's
but
dope.
I'm not a writer.
It could even be as simple as just like the stories and how they trickle down and how like things get forgotten. That would be a cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the oral tradition almost.
Yeah.
That's
Totally. Yeah.
That's so interesting. That's definitely an interesting perspective. I have a similar perspective, Mark, with the problem of suffering.
Yeah.
And all of that. Quick question about, I don't think we hit it at the beginning when you said the Empire was your favorite.
Yeah.
Your favorite show in Star Wars?
Ooh.
Yeah. It's kind of like a three-way tie right now. Like I would say the three-way tie is Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and Rebels. But right now I'm gonna say like Ahsoka is my all-time favorite. Like I just because like, but it's like it's kind of unfair because you couldn't have Ahsoka wouldn't mean as much to me if it weren't for Rebels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like those are one show in a way.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's really season 5, just live action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite, mainly because my attraction to Star Wars is the Force.
Yes.
So like I feel like that Rebels Ahsoka stuff is giving us so much Force mythology and the father and the son and the daughter and like now what's happening with all this stuff. And so, but Mandalorian is amazing. Like Mandalorian like was such a great show. I have a mythosaur on the other arm.
Yes.
Get mine soon.
That was that show totally caught me off guard because I thought like, oh, it's gonna be dark and like the bounty hunters and it's all gonna be about how like ruthless they are. And then to get to the end of that first episode and you see the ears, I was like, whoa, and like, and then just how much heart is in that show. And it has made me love the Mandalorians like almost as much as I love Jedi. Like the Jedi still beat them out, but like all the deep dives on that culture, or at least this group of the specific branch of that culture, I'm just loving it, and I can't wait for the movie. So it's a very tight race, but Ahsoka and Rebels beats it out only because of the Force and Jedi and all the stuff. So
welcome to the family, brother.
all right.
It's fun. So this last was it last weekend or the weekend before we were all out at Rebel Scum Con. And
I wanted to go. That's so
yes.
cool. Yeah.
And so I got to talk to Emily Swallow and Tate Fletcher and before I've gotten an opportunity to talk to Brendan Wayne, the Mandalorian family.
Yep.
So it's really cool that you talk about that because I do. My favorite character overall is Boba Fett. I got the helmet.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so so I feel that. Love it. I got to ask you a question here. And this was on the approved list, so I'm gonna ask you. Have you gotten any calls to voice that new Darth Vader book that's coming out called Vader? I can't think of the name now. Vader, Master of Evil.
And then you said it was on the approved list?
It's on the approved list.
Okay, yes, I'm going to be narrating that book.
Yes! Yes!
Let's go!
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm kind of prepping it right now.
Really, yes!
Like it's like I obviously can't say anything, but it's like there's some stuff in it. I'm like,
on the record.
Like that's like it's. So look, it's. I'm not done with it yet, but it's really really great. So
that's so cool. I am so excited for that book. I mean, as soon as they announced it, I pre-ordered the audio version, and so I'm like, as soon as I did, I'm like, I hope Mark is doing this. I really wish Mark would do this.
I got both, but the book's just gonna sit back here. I can't read it.
Raph can't read.
Follow along.
Looks at the cover,
Some of the words are familiar, but then you get past the first, the prologue, and it's just like, bro.
Yeah.
So guys, you heard it here first. Marc Thompson is going to be narrating Master of Evil.
It's really
in November.
Marc Thompson is Darth Vader.
Yes.
Join me.
Ooh. Yo,
the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. That was awesome.
There's weird things happening within my body right now. I'm not okay.
I love that.
Oh god. That's dope.
One of the things that was really cool as I'm reading the Heir to the re-listening to Heir to the Empire is I was listening this morning on the way to work, and it's the scene where Leia's having the twins. And it was really cool because there's that part, and I never caught this before because this is why I love to keep reading them, because you catch things you never did before, where she's having the kids and she's trying to reach out to Jaina's mind, right? And she touches her mind, and Jaina reaches back for a quick second, right? And after she does that, she loses the connection for a minute and realizes in retrospect, right, that the Jaina actually went and touched the mind of Jason to help him get through what they were going through, kind of a thing, right? And help calm him down. And I'm like, whoa, like that. You talk about the Force. I'm like, that is so cool. Like I never saw that before, and I love the way you portray that in that scene. So that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really cool. Like the one thing that the movies obviously are amazing, and it's probably my favorite way to experience it. But like one advantage the books have is they get to really camp out and spend a lot of time on the Force and characters, and you really get to know the characters in a much deeper way than you would if you're only seeing them in a 2-hour film or a half-hour episode of something. Like you really get to know how they think about things and aspects of the Force that you wouldn't have time to explore in other ways. So the books are really awesome for those reasons and a lot of reasons, but
I mean, you get to make your own movie in your mind, right? Like Jungle, you had alluded to it earlier when it immerses us, right? Like as I'm listening to Han, you're voicing Han and Lando and Chewie and all these, like I'm like literally picturing it in my mind as a full-scale movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is Kevin Thompson and Paul Goodrich. Like they are masters at in putting the music in the right spots, using the sound effects the right way. It helps that movie in your mind. And they're so incredible at it.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing too, is like sometimes I'll read along while I'm listening to audiobooks, but a lot of the time I'm just like I'm propped up with my eyes closed, just like imagining these scenes. It's crazy.
That's cool.
It's so cool. gonna kind of take it in a little bit different direction here. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, recently you just became the voice of Superman.
Oh yeah.
Take us through that experience and what that's like.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because it's another one of those. I've been very lucky. Like I've gotten to work on a lot of things that I'm a fan of. So Superman was another one that was kind of on the level of Star Wars for me. Like I grew up playing with Superman figures and watching the cartoons and reading the comics, and so I was super excited to get to do that. They did an audio adaptation of All Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, and it's kind of like one of the an important story or important run in the comics for him in terms of his character. Like James Gunn used that.
I was just gonna say James Gunn just used that.
Yeah, like it was a huge inspiration for the new movie, and so I don't know how so like Kevin was directing that one, and he was kind of telling me about it, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, I'd love to audition. He's like, yeah. So like he sent him and the producer Nick Martorelli, who's a huge Superman fan, sent me the auditions for it. And the ones they sent me were like Jarrell and Pa Kent and a couple other people. And I was like, okay, but there was a part of me that's like, I'd really like to try Superman. So like I never do this, but I submitted, I did my reads for those roles, and then I just said, hey, I know you've probably got other people in mind, but just in case, I kind of recorded a couple scenes of Superman because I had the comic. So I just let me find a good scene, and I kind of recorded myself doing Superman and sent that along as well. Just like, you probably have other people in mind, but I just want to at least ask. And so I sent that off, and then he wrote back, oh, you beat me to it. Like, we were just sending out the ancillary characters first, and we wanted to, so then he sent me back another scene, and he gave me like, Nick wrote this like huge email, like kind of explaining who Superman is in this specific story. And he's a giant fan. So between his email and that, and I read it, and I guess they liked what he did. And I got to do it. And it was a really special experience, because I love Superman as much as I love Star Wars. And so it was a huge honor, and I feel incredibly blessed that I got to be a part of it. And the production turned out great. Like that one's a multicast. So they cast several actors to play all the different roles. So it's even a deeper level of immersion, because you're hearing all the different actors, and I got to do the scenes with like Lois and Lex and all these things, and the music and the sound effects, and it works really well as an audio. Like
That's so cool.
so yeah, it's great.
So obviously we've heard, I don't think I've ever heard your Superman voice. Do you have a line from there you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, it's let's see. Lois, I have something to tell you. There's always a way. So it's kind of like just a, like the thing about Superman is like, and this version of Superman is they really wanted him to be kind of an everyman, and so it's not about like an accent or it's not like Superman. It's more like this was like a grounded kind of subtle performance they wanted. So but it was fun to do, and I like doing them. So but it's I have one of the images I had in my mind when we were doing it. I had a mentor who said this thing to me once about like, you want to try to be a velvet rock, meaning like you want to have the strength of a rock and kind of be immovable and strong, but you want to have that soft exterior and that warm, approachable on the outside. And so I had a little bit of that when I was trying to do it. I wanted to have kind of a strength to it, but a warmth and a gentleness to it. So
that's so cool.
That's difficult.
Yeah,
for sure. You have to have that touch the whole time too.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still reeling at the fact that he's gonna be voicing the new Vader book. I'm like so out of my mind excited.
From Thrawn and Luke Skywalker to Vader and now Superman.
Yeah.
Insane.
So got a resume like none other.
It's awesome. Well, you deserve it. I mean, you work super hard at it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have I don't know if you remember her or not. She's interviewed you, Mariana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she says super excited for this. I had both Star Wars Gazer and Mark on my podcast earlier this year. They were so fun to chat with. P.S. Mark, I talked to Rebecca Solar and Rory Max Kaplan.
No way.
Yeah.
I wonder how you got to talk to Rory. That's so cool.
I think it was there's a Comic-Con down in Miami. I can't remember what it's called. And I think that's where she met him.
Oh, that's so
there.
cool.
Yeah. So because those are Pokemon guys, right?
Rebecca, did Rebecca do Pokemon? Well, Rebecca's like an audiobook narrator.
Ah, okay.
And Rory directs a ton of animation, and he was on Broadway, and he's a great kind of singer and actor. And so yeah, that's interesting. That's cool.
That is really cool. What Jungle, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask Mr. Mark? We had a couple here.
Do you have one in mind that I was going to ask?
No, not really.
Okay. No, I mean, I could talk all day. I could ask you questions all day about different aspects. And I think the curiosities that I had about your processes and the things about Thrawn, like you really dove into that really well. So yeah, no, just thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing, those intricacies. And, we now get to listen to those books more and hear your future stuff that we're really excited about with the lens of like, oh, this is how he's doing this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. I do have a side question here, and I want to know this from Clone Force as well. How can we get Wrath into voice acting? So he's Wrath over here is a man of a million voices himself.
Oh, cool.
Like it's hilarious, like hanging out with him because he'll just break out into just a random voice, and you're like, okay, dude, like
that's how it starts.
Yeah.
I've been doing it forever, man. I've always been that guy in the group that just does the most random shit in a voice. And
that's great.
People are folding laughing. I had Jungle practically dying in my room during Rebel Scum Con with the impersonations.
I was literally just like, stop. And I was just like literally folded over, and he just kept going. Like he was feeding off of my pain. He's a Sith Lord over there.
Literally.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's funny, man.
Yeah, I mean, what I generally what you want to do is you want to get a demo together of like, maybe 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half of just some different character voices. Like you could do a demo of impersonations, but even if you just do a demo of more kind of general characters as opposed to like Mickey Mouse and like Glory, so like you want to try to just get a sample of that, and then there's there's different voice acting websites that you could post the demo on and try to get auditions and things like that. There's like voice123.com, voices.com, voiceover planet, and there's a bunch of them out there. And you just kind of just start putting your hat in the ring and just start getting out there, and you can start, some people are like making their own stuff, like little short skits or little animation things, and you putting it online, and some people are getting their start that way, like just because someone will notice and like that and start like, give me the guy from that,
So, give me the guy that does that stupid voice.
Yeah.
Wrath, I think you've got a question, kind of the last question, I guess, to sum things up and for this interview. Thank you so much again for your time. Like, this has been amazing. Absolutely. Just chef's kiss here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question, and this has kind of become like a thing for me at this point, it's what is Star Wars mean to you?
I mean, gosh, it means a lot. Like, it's like, how can I say this concisely? Like it means like it's the inspiration to be a light in the universe. Like, trying to, there's a lot of darkness in the world, and there's a lot of things that are trying to throw everything off balance through all the selfishness and greed and anger and rage. And so like if you can be a force for light, if you can be a force for good, maybe we can bring things back into balance, and so it's this inspiration to me to try to be a part of the light, or a force for light, and a force for good. And so, and just, it's that's the main thing. And then it's also lightsabers and, ships and cool aliens and,
seismic charges.
Yeah. And, and then, I think of friendships that I have because of Star Wars. I think of, memories with my wife and kids where we would dress up in costumes for the premieres of the movies, and just how special those memories are to me. And so it's nostalgia, it's family, it's friendship, it's joy, it's laughter. It's, it's just, I love it. Like before this interview, I was playing Star Wars Unlimited at a TCG store, and getting my
Oh, that's so cool.
But so it just brings me so much joy. And like anything, my wife makes fun of me because I wear Star Wars t-shirts every day, and like it just it just brings me a lot of happiness and joy and just inspiration. And I'm rambling, but it just
no, it's great.
Oh, no way. You haven't opened them yet?
Well,
somebody hasn't paid for them yet.
My god. Oh my gosh. Wait, no way. Do you play?
So
what are you doing with all those cards?
Well, so I'm a Whatnot streamer, and I sell cards, Star Wars cards.
No
on Whatnot.
way.
Same.
Yeah,
Do you?
So does Raph.
I do a little bit.
Do you have any Thrawn showcase from Spark?
I don't, but I could look.
I'm gonna get one eventually, but
Yeah.
I need to get a showcase Thrawn and a showcase Luke. I have a showcase Avar, and I'm playing with Avar right now. That's so cool that you have all those cards. That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I've got a few boxes. So I'm gonna write these down. So Spark has gotten more sought after.
Yeah.
Because it's
I know it's gonna get discontinued, but I like the art on the showcase Thrawn on that one.
Oh yeah.
The new one. So
one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go for it.
Well, we met one of the artists at Rebel ScumCon that does stuff in
no
Unlimited.
way.
Yeah, Shane Molina.
Yeah.
Hawaiian dude.
Wow.
He's incredible, dude. Yeah.
That's so cool. Like
I love your message about that, about being a light in the galaxy. Because I mean, Raph's been asking that question. I usually ask, something similar, and it's usually either being a light in the galaxy or the word family comes to mind for people.
Yep.
How it's just connected family so closely.
Totally.
You see a grandpa walking around with his grandkids at a convention. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it connects generations of people together. So that's amazing. I'm going to ask my last question here, kind of going along that line of, what does Star Wars mean to you? How about a Star Wars message, or not, doesn't have to be Star Wars, but just a message to Star Wars fans and everyone alike? What would be something that you'd want to everyone listening out there that you want to kind of convey to people?
Oh wow, I don't know.
I know it's kind of general and broad.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think I don't know. I would just say gratitude. Like because I remember when Heir to the Empire was all we had. You know what I mean? Like the 3 movies that come out, it felt like it was all over with, and that was great and that was fun. And then all of a sudden this book came out and there's more. And I'm like, no, wait, and like as much as I didn't like reading, like that was the one book I went out and bought because I was like, what happens next? And so the fact that we have comics, we have animation, we have TV shows, we have new films. It's like, everything might not be exactly what your favorite thing is, but like the fact that we have so much, just to continue to be grateful for that. And, and just from working on the books, the audiobooks, like I know like how much effort and how much love and passion goes into creating these things. And so, just really appreciating how spoiled we are in terms of like how much there is to enjoy and how much there is to. And if it's not, if this movie or show is not your thing, you know, something else will be, and something else is coming, like, you know, and there's going to be surprises. Like I had no idea how much I would love The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I was ready to write it off, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, you know, or like Andor, like, you know, it took me a while to get into Andor because it was so different than what I had been used to, but I really came to love that show, you know, and so there's just like so much out there, and just keeping, you know, anyway, I don't know if that
That's
makes
beautiful.
sense.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
think- yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
you know what it's like to go through the times of the drought, you know, and I remember feeling like when we heard about Phantom Menace was coming, it felt like an eternity because I had seen the original trilogy remastered in theaters.
Yes.
And so I was like, that's it?
Yeah,
Well, when
yeah.
are they gonna do? When are they gonna do the 7, 8, and 9?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I'm
yeah.
like a 6-year-old, and like my dad's like, well, we don't know yet, you know, and they might do 1, 2, and 3, and we're like, what's gonna happen? And it felt like an eternity before we actually heard anything. And once we heard something, it felt like an eternity before we got anything.
Yep.
And then we started getting that stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane, you
Yeah.
know. And now it's like it's like the best time to be a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah.
We've got so much content,
Yep.
so much cool merchandise. The collecting is on a different level. The community is bigger than it ever has been.
Yep.
All the social media and YouTube platforms and all the books and, you know, incredible storytelling and narrating and voice acting like yours. Like, it's like, yeah, we're so spoiled, dude. We need to be incredibly grateful for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was when you were telling that story, like I was in New York City during Hurricane Sandy, and it was a blackout in New York City, like that. We had no power, and I had like a AM radio that we were listening to for updates. And on the news flash, they announced that they were doing 7, 8, and 9. And I was like my son told me as I was walking, I was walking the dog, and I came back, and my son told me, I was like, what? No, that can't be true. And I had no internet, no power. And I'm like scrambling, like trying to find, like, somebody repeat that announcement. Like, is this real? Is it real? Somebody tell me this is real. It was so cool. So
Losing his crap over it. Just like, yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
gotta ask, since you're doing Darth Vader, can you give us your Darth Vader's version of "You don't know the power of the dark side"?
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Yeah, Wrath is gonna lose it.
Oh man.
I love that.
Yo. Don't make me flash my Darth Vader tattoo.
Oh, do you have one?
He does.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't show it because I'm wearing pants. It's on my thigh.
That's
I gotta take my pants off.
Pants off.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'd love to do this again at some point.
Yeah.
I would love to meet you at some point in person.
Yeah.
You know, you've been on my podcast before, and so I would love to meet you.
Yeah.
For those watching and those who will watch, where can people find you at? Where are the best spots to look at your stuff and follow you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm Marc Thompson _VO _ Ehud. Sorry for the long tag there. And it's Mark with a C, so sometimes that trips people up. On Facebook, I'm just Marc Thompson, and on X, I'm Captain Ehud. Yes, I'm too lazy to. I have to pay to verify it. It's a long story. Anyway, but yeah, I mostly update on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, and I'll announce like books that are coming out there. I've been doing a lot of convention appearances lately, so I'm going to be in Houston this weekend at NostalgiaCon. I've got one coming up in Long Island in November, and Connecticut in September, and I think St. Angelo, Texas in September. So I've got a bunch coming up. So if you ever want to come to a con, I'd love to meet you, and I can I update on those social media platforms where I'm going to be.
Okay.
So
we're thinking of going to SpaceCon.
Oh yeah. I don't have plans. I might go to that one with Saber Guild if I don't have another convention going on. I'm a member of Saber Guild, so I might be doing that but I have to check with my wife, and I don't know if I might have another convention somewhere else that weekend.
Okay.
But Are you guys based here in Texas or?
No, I'm over by Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm in Colorado.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
DC.
Oh wow, you're all over the place. That's
Yes.
cool. How do you guys know each other?
Through this
Star
YouTube
Wars,
community.
man.
Star Wars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
It is actually the place that Jungle and I really met was last year at ICCC in Nashville.
Oh yeah,
and I was gonna ask you if that'd be something you're interested in. I know the owner pretty well.
Oh yeah. He had me out 2 years ago or 3 years
Did he
ago.
really?
I love that show. Yeah, I definitely would love to go back. Yeah.
I'll reach out to him and say, hey, Mark said he wants to come back, man.
Yeah.
2026 is a good year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mando
Yeah.
Grogu. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks again, Mark. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. All the love. Wish you and your family well.
Thank you.
And hopefully we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, it'd be great. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.